The rain pounded against the glass windows of the penthouse as Ava Sinclair stood frozen, staring at the contract in front of her. A single signature would change her life forever. Across from her is Lucas Harrington, who watches her like a predator waiting for his prey to make a move. He brings an offer to her that would benefit both parties. Ava's hands trembled as she gripped the pen. She had spent her whole life fighting to survive. But now, backed into a corner with no way out. If you've watched up till this point, subscribe now and turn on notifications to find out. Ava Sinclair was drowning. Her father's debts had swallowed everything, her home, her business, and her future. With eviction knocking at her door and no way to pay back the ruthless loan sharks circling her like vultures, she had no options left. Until he appeared. Lucas Harrington. The billionaire heir to the Blackwood Empire. Cold. Calculated. Powerful. Sitting across from him in his penthouse office, Ava was given an offer. Lucas wanted Ava to marry him for 6 months, and in turn he would clear her debts and ensure she never struggles again. Ava was surprised by his condition. He also explained that his family's one rule is that only a married man can inherit the empire. If he doesn't get a wife soon, his cousin, Damien, will take over, and he is totally against it. She wanted to say no. Wanted to walk away. But when she saw the final eviction notice in her bag, the choice was already made for her. Her pride was nothing compared to survival. She picked up the pen and signed the contract, and just like that, she became Mrs. Lucas Harrington. The media exploded the moment the engagement was announced. Lucas Harrington's secret bride-to-be. Mysterious woman steals billionaire heir's heart. Except there was no love. No passion. Just a deal. As Ava walked down the aisle in a designer wedding dress, her heart pounded knowing that she was stepping into a world she didn't belong to. At the altar, Lucas took her hand, murmured to her to put on a smile as they had an audience. She forced a smile as cameras flashed, sealing the deal with a kiss. As the crowd cheered, Ava met with Damien Harrington, who asked Lucas if she was the one standing between him and the empire. Lucas' expression hardened, strictly reminding Damien that Ava is his wife and that's all he needs to know. Ava became disturbed in her mind, wondering why Lucas' cousin mentioned her name in their family's business. While she let it wave by as it was a big day for her and didn't want any issues early into marriage. 2 weeks into the marriage, the unimaginable happened. That night Lucas pulled Ava into the penthouse and locked the door, instructing her not to open the door for anyone. She barely had time to ask why before the glass window shattered. Gunshots rang out. A masked intruder lunged at Lucas, but before Ava could even scream, her husband moved like a predator, swift, ruthless. Within seconds, the attacker was on the floor, groaning in pain. As Lucas wiped the blood from his knuckles, Ava pressed against the wall, shaking. She was so scared that she couldn't even move from her position. Lucas glanced at the unconscious man. He knew someone wanted to take his life but wasn't sure who that could be. Ava then realized their lives were in danger and she could become the prime target. After the incident that night, Ava quickly learned that Lucas' enemies were board members in suits. She tried to keep her distance, to remind herself that this was just a contract. But the more she saw Lucas fight for control over his family's empire, the harder it became to ignore the man beneath the billionaire mask. Then the second attack happened. This time, it was aimed at her. She was walking into the Harrington estate when a car sped toward her. Before she could react, Lucas yanked her out of the way, both of them crashing onto the pavement as the car screeched past. Lucas' face was murderous as he pulled her up. Damien, he spat. Ava's stomach twisted, her face looking confused as to why Lucas' cousin wanted to hit her with his car. Ava got home that afternoon, became so restless as she tried to understand the reason for the incident earlier. Ava had thought marrying Lucas Harrington would be her escape from poverty and desperation. Instead, she walked straight into a beautifully decorated danger. Damien was Lucas' former business partner and once his closest friend. But power had turned them into enemies. Damien believed Ava was Lucas' weakness. He intended to use her to destroy him. Ava found documents hidden in Lucas' study, proof of the dirty deals he has been into and reason for the recent attempted murders. Her heart shattered as she went through the documents. That night, she packed her bags. She didn't care about the contract. She didn't care about the money. She just wanted out for the sake of her life. But Lucas had other plans. When she tried to leave, the guard stopped her at the estate's gates. This was an instruction from Lucas. At the office, the board still threatened to strip Lucas of his inheritance even after fulfilling the marriage rule. Damien moved in for the kill. Just as Ava thought she could trust Lucas, she discovered the shock of her life. Lucas had planned to use her all along. The contract had been just the beginning. He had known she was desperate. He had known she would say yes. And she had walked straight into his trap. This time, she confronted Lucas. This led to a heavy argument between Lucas and Ava. In the middle of their argument, armed men stormed into the estate. Guess what? They were Damien and his men. Gunfire erupted in the Harrington estate. Lucas fought, but he was outnumbered. Ava stood frozen as Damien aimed a gun straight at Lucas' heart. Ava didn't think. She acted. Her hands wrapped around the gun one of the fallen guards had dropped. Without hesitation, she pulled the trigger. Bang! Damien staggered back, eyes wide with shock as blood bloomed across his chest. He fell, the gun slipping from his fingers. Ava's own hands were shaking, but she didn't let go of the weapon. Lucas turned to her, his expression unreadable. Ava met his gaze, fire burning in hers. The sirens wailed in the distance as Damien's men scattered. The Harrington estate was in ruins, but Lucas was alive. Ava could have walked away then. But as she stood there, heart pounding, she realized loved Lucas. Even after everything. Lucas reached for her hand, his touch hesitant, and their marriage felt real for the first time. What do you think Ava will do? Will she give Lucas another chance? Or will she use this as her moment to finally break free? And what will happen when a fake marriage turns into something dangerously real? More importantly, what would you do? Subscribe to this channel to find out. Like and comment below if you find this story interesting.